Hey, good evening, guys. How is everybody tonight? Maybe painting Terminators. That shouldn't surprise literally anybody. But that's what we're going to be doing. Good evening, Michael. Good evening, Aaron, Robert, Joseph, Dracula. Who else is in here? Anthony, Rezio. Tony, good evening. How you doing? Two hit, two wound. I saw one of your, I think it was this model, two hit, two wound, on your Twitter this week. I saw that you'd painted him and he looks stunning. I'm always impressed, dude. Always impressed with your painting on Twitter. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Jeff. How you doing? I'm getting on well with these Terminators, though. I've been doing them for what feels like forever. So I think I'm gonna just start with some washes tonight. I mean, maybe there's a few details I've missed, but maybe if we start with some washes, these guys will actually start to get a bit of definition to them, which is long overdue, I guess. Sorry, I'm just cleaning my glasses before I get started. I'm planning on the next kit bash. Any ideas where I can get a storm shield with a helix on it? I mean, maybe eBay. Good evening, Spiderwing. There's always storm shields available on eBay. They're not always the cheapest, but they are always available. I hope I've got another pot of Null Nile. I'm going to start with some Null Nile tonight. As always, if anyone has any Blood Angels related questions, you can just happily put them in chat. We do try and make this a bit of an interactive stream, and if you are working on any hobby tonight, then let me know in the chat and we'll definitely read that out as well. Etsy? Yeah, I mean, I guess Etsy for 3D printing stuff is probably somewhere you can go as well to get some custom stuff, right? Alright, so Null Nile, I'm going to go into all these armor panel-y bits here. I need a little bit more than that. In behind the legs, in behind the arms, on the back. I'm just gonna hit everywhere that looks like it could be like an armor piece, I guess, or a joint in the armor. And I'm probably going to do 2 coats of this Null Nile, so we'll start with 1 coat and we'll see how it looks, but typically on these armor joints and stuff I always find 2 coats gives you better coverage. We are going for like slightly grim dark, right? It's easy to make a mistake when you're doing the oils as well. Been a while, says Pin Monkey. Good evening. B Henry, good evening. How you doing? Took the plunge and pre-ordered a wet palette. Has yours arrived? Do you know what? I got an email from Kickstarter telling me that they were working. They'd had some production problems or shipping problems or something. Honestly, I hadn't looked too much. I got an email saying that whatever problems they had are kind of behind them now. So mine still hasn't arrived, but I assume that if the problems are behind the company, then it's only a matter of time. Which is good. I'm ready to get a wet palette. I must have ordered that one like well, I think I ordered that one before I moved house, right? And that was 6 months ago, so at this point I probably ordered it like a year ago, I guess. Greetings, Frank. Making some relic Terminators, regular old Terminator squad, and I'm slapping lightning claws from the Blood Angels Assault Terminators on. I mean, that totally works, I guess. I don't own any relic Terminators, but the amount of times people talk about them, I feel like I really should get myself some. People always seem to... I think it's just the fact they can take the lightning claws, right? I think that's what... The lightning claws on all the models makes them, like, really attractive. I mean, by all means kit bash them, but the actual Terminator kit is pretty cool as well, isn't it? I heard a rumour that there was going to... I can't can't remember. There's been a lot of rumors floating around. One of the rumors was that I heard this week, and I don't know if there's any truth to it, or maybe it was just something that said in Discord, was someone was talking about potentially Primaris Terminators. Is that a thing? Anyone up with the rumors? Anyone got the inside information? Primaris Terminators would be cool. I mean, the Blood Angels Assault Terminator kit is very cool. It has held up throughout the years, hasn't it? I thought that's what Blade Guard were, says Dante. I mean, in some ways, I guess. That's kind of what Blade Guard were trying to be, I guess, in some ways. Like, they were... It did say in the lore that Blade Guard were first company, right? So I guess in some ways they kind of are the equivalent of Terminators, but I guess the Blade Guard aren't as offensive as Terminators, and I think that's just because of the prevalence of -1 damage nonsense. There's so many things that are -1 damage now you have to work about. I've seen someone sticking Primaris heads on Terminators. I mean, who the fuck would do that to hit the wound? No one I know would be doing that. I actually like it, man. I think it's cool. I mean, we can't be... Primaris are going to be the future. We can't hate on them forever, right? Am I getting the Horus Heresy box? Did they announce what's in the box? Like, I saw the trailer, and I saw the leaked, or the... I guess it's not leaked now, but I saw the sort of scaled-up Marine? Firstborn Marine, I think? Who's maybe scaled up somewhere in between a Primaris Marine and an old Firstborn Marine? But, like, I don't think they said what's in the box yet, right? Any thoughts on Duncan Rhodes' upcoming painting line? Anyone going to try them? I'm sure Will, if there's one person I trust to sell me good paints, is Duncan Rhodes. I mean, I think the name of his painting line, which I believe is Two Thin Coats, or at least the paints are called Two Thin Coats, is pretty clever. I don't know if I mean, I suppose I complain a lot about the Games Workshop paints being in bad style bottles. I mean, I have a huge collection of paints, so I'm not sure I'm ready to dive in and start. Unless I was starting a new army. If I was starting a new army, then I could totally get behind starting like with a new range of paints, I guess. I'm sure Duncan's paints will be good, though. It looked like he had good coverage. I saw like a bunch of the names of the paints. It's probably easy to compare them to like actual GW paints, because like in some ways they have similar-ish names. So yeah, I think it's not Goonhammer. Goobertown Hobbies has already made a video on Duncan's paints, and I mean, for the most part, it seemed like it was a pretty positive video. I'm sure you'll be able to check it out. Vanguard Veterans and Sternguard are first company too. I don't think they are, Michael, are they? I mean, I'm not a huge lore guy. I thought the first company was all Terminators and Blood Angels. But I mean, actually, the first company is all Terminators, and where are Sanguinary Guards sitting within that hierarchy? Are they just like are they somewhere else? They haven't announced the contents yet of Horus Heresy. The single most iconic part of the Terminators is their helmets. Well, that's why 4 of them have the classic helmets. This guy has the Primaris Terminators. He's an equal opportunity Terminator, you know? He's just happy the Primaris came and saved our asses on Baal, so he's representing the Terminators. The box contents from leaks include the Sons of Horus and an Imperial Fists, an old pattern Land Raider, and a Leviathan Dreadnought. Also a captain for each side. Are those gonna? So that's gonna be. Is that going to be a plastic Leviathan Dreadnought? That's the question, right? I mean, I don't know why they would use an old style Land Raider, unless it's. I heard a league a while back that it was going to be a Spartan heavy tank, super heavy, which in some ways looks a lot like a Land Raider, right? Like, is it the Spartan or is it a Land Raider? Bill's just joined to say Blood Angels Commander is finally washing the Terminators. Yeah, I mean, like, do you know what? A lot of people, Bill, actually came onto some of my live streams over the last 3 weeks and will be like, maybe even 4 weeks, how long I've been on these Terminators, and be like, are you going to put some washes on those models? And I was like, yeah, I am. Just the base colors, man, they're taking me literally forever. I tell you, I mean, I've only had 2 children now for like 4 months, but having 2 kids really eats up into your free time, I'll tell you that for sure. I mean, I'm very happy with my family, but my goodness, 2 kids is hard work. I know some of you guys in chat have said before, like, I've got 3 kids, I've got 4 kids. I'm like, hats off, guys, because I've got 2 kids and I ain't having any more. No chance. The name is pretty clever, but having to say 2 thin coats paint every time you refer to them will probably be annoying really fast. Yeah, 2 Hit 2 Wound asks, do we need more brands of paints? I think that's a valid question. I think the answer is probably no. I mean, I think the answer is probably no, but I mean, some people will obviously want to support their favorite creators, and like if Duncan is one of your favorite creators or people, then you might buy the paints to support him. But I mean, in terms of like, do you feel like you can't get a good result on your models with the paints that are out right now? Like, I guess the answer really is no, right? First company is Terminators, Dreadnoughts, Sternguard veterans, Vanguard veterans, and Blade Guard veterans. Do you know what? I honestly haven't read the lore stuff in the new Blood Angels Codex. I guess I probably should have read it, but you know, I spend way more time trying to build lists and stuff like that than I do reading the lore. I did buy the Astaroth book maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago now, but I haven't had a chance to start it. I will. I enjoyed the last few books. Like, I enjoyed Dante, I enjoyed Darkness in the Blood, and I definitely enjoyed Devastation of Val. So I believe the Astaroth book kind of follows on after all that. To see, like, because Astaroth leaves during Devastation, or he's away on another planet or something like that. So I'm excited to read the Astaroth book. I just haven't had a chance yet. Like I said, having 2 kids very young age is more challenging than I expected. You should warn people before you show that intercessor head. I nearly vomited my beer. Fuck off, Tony. It's an intercessor head with a little golden skull on top as well. It's not even like it's just a default intercessor head. It's like this guy's representing the golden skull intercessor heads, whatever that may be. I like to convert my model. I mean, if I'd put a Sanguinary Guard head on it, would you guys still hate it just as much? Like, is it because it's a Primaris head? Good evening, Jimmy. Sanguinary Guard don't belong to a company, their own thing. Yeah, I thought so. There's only supposed to be like 25 of them in the lore. I've always thought parents have negative free time. Yeah, I mean, like, being a parent, working a job, trying to make YouTube videos every week and do any painting is, yeah. That's why literally the only time I paint each week is the 2 or 4 hours that I stream, because I literally just don't have any other time. Children free time, I guess. Like, sometimes I have free time, but I'll have to be watching a child, you know, so. James says, good evening, John. Watched the worst Primaris video yesterday. It was very good. Oh, thanks for that, James. I was trying to have a little bit of fun with that video, but also at the same time, sort of like, if there is rumors of a new Space Marine Codex out there, because we've been hearing rumors for a while, I will literally throw the, like, if the new Codex comes out and there's loads of units, like, let's say those 8 units that I mentioned, if the new Codex comes out and those 8 units haven't changed, man, I'll be so fucking mad, honestly. Because for the last year and a half, there's been so many units in the Space Marine Codex that are just bad. And it's like, if you look at them objectively for even like a couple of minutes, you could see they're bad. And it's just like, why are they not doing anything with them? You know, like, you'd never see them in the battle on, like, in terms of like competitive battles, they're never involved, you know. And it's just like, these models are obviously bad. Everyone's spent like a lot of money buying them. I know I have, and painting them, you know, you spent your time and effort painting them, and then let's just like, so although the video is just sort of supposed to be a little bit of fun, a little bit of a dig maybe at the how bad some of the Primaris stuff is, at the same time it would be nice if like someone at Games Workshop was like, oh wow, look at all these terrible models, that, like, this is what the community thinks about these models, so they think they're terrible. Maybe is there something we can do with the rules or something to try and make them better? Because I know that like they like to try and balance stuff with points costs, but points costs only go so far. I mean, if a model kind of sucks, I mean, how do you get it to be good? You can't just lower its point cost forever, right? I mean, I suppose you could lower its points cost to the point where, like, yeah, okay, it sucks, but you're going to take it now because it's like no very low points. But I think a better idea would just be like, look at the units and just balance the codex a bit better. Every single day, I hear about like rules coming out for like Harlequins for example. Right now I've been hearing a few things about the Harlequins rules that just sound insane. Like, they just sound so strong, and it's just like, it's a little bit frustrating when you play an army where you have, like, for example, I could have that video was 8 Primaris units that suck. It could have probably been 12. I mean, like, a few people mentioned, they were like, aggressors don't get any playtime at the moment. Death Company intercessors just warm their shelves. I'm sure some people mentioned some other units that weren't really particularly loved either, or used, or whatever, you know. So, I guess it is what it is. It's because it's not a Terminator head. A helmetless head would have been acceptable. Okay, fine. I'm always going to put different heads on my models, though, if I can. I think my chapter master on a bike uses a Reaver head, right? Oh, Jaegerbomb, thank you for becoming a member for 5 months. Super appreciated, dude. I think next week I was going to make a video on like how I'm dealing with Codex creep, because Codex creep this edition has been, or I was going to say it has been challenging. It still is challenging. It seems like everything that's coming out is, every rule, every model that comes out now with new rules, they're just stronger and stronger and stronger, right? B. Hendry thinks the Primaris head looks dope. B. Hendry, you are now my favourite person in the channel tonight. For the rest of the evening, you are king of chat. Thank you for supporting me. And anything you say goes. I've got a 1K tournament coming up, and I don't think there's any point trying to make a balanced list, says Chip Hazard. I think at this point, Chip Hazard, I think you just try and make, like, I think if you want to try out some things, and that's what I've been doing, you know, like, I've ran Mephiston for like 6 or 7 games in a row now, and like, Mephiston's been doing okay for me, you know, like, he's some games he's fine, you know, so like I think you just go ahead and try out things that you want to try out, because it's tough right now with all the new rules coming out for all the chapters and them being so bloody strong. Then if you've got an idea or a tactic or a unit, let's say like you bought one of those Gladiator Reapers, you know, run it. Now is the time to run it, because we're not super strong right now. So you can run anything you want, I guess. And that's kind of how I'm dealing with Codex creep, is I'm trying to just play things that I want to try. And it's always good to learn more of your army, right? Like, the more you know your army, the more likely you're going to be able to like adapt and win in situations. So that's what I would say. Jaegerbomb also coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Think the Tears of Dawnbreakers will go plastic too for Horus Heresy. Are you thinking about getting into that game? Is looking good. I'm probably not going to get into the game, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't pick up the starter set. I probably want to focus on 40k Jaegerbomb till I win a couple of GTs or something. I mean, I think winning some tournaments will give this channel a little bit more credibility. I was pretty close last year, but I managed to fuck it up on the top table, so I will buy the Horus Heresy starter box. Honestly, I know some people are like doing the thing on the website. I saw Valrak last night doing it to like potentially get like a new faction, or not new faction, get like a new legion, so that like you're playing like a new legion for Horus Heresy. I mean, I'm so committed to Blood Angels at this point that like if I did get the starter set, I'm just painting it all Blood Angels just to keep the dream alive, I guess. But if they make a lot of the Forge World stuff plastic, that will be so nice, because working with plastic glue and the new plastic kits over like the Forge World stuff is like night and day. It's not that I can't do the Forge World stuff, because I made like a super heavy tank and stuff, but it's the fact that like the Forge World instructions fucking suck, man. I don't know if you've ever bought a Forge World kit, but like it's like they're the worst instructions you've ever seen. If you buy a super heavy tank from Forge World, the instructions are like 2 steps. It's like step 1, here's all the pieces. Step 2, here's the tank finished. And there's nothing in between, basically. Like, they're so bad. So if we could get like plastic Forge World kits, that would be brilliant. And also if we could get better instructions, because the plastic kits, their instructions in general are just so much better. And I mean, if you think about it now, Games Workshop's plastic has been improving for like I don't know how many years, but like the plastic kits since I came back to the hobby like 5-6 years ago have been so good in comparison to like what we used to get. And I mean, the main Forge World store is literally on the same premises or on the same land, I guess, as like the main Games Workshop factory, right? Like it's basically all at Warhammer World. Like there's a factory there where they like make all the plastic kits, or they make like a good amount of them. Maybe they make some of them elsewhere as well, I don't know, but I'm convinced they make like a lot of their plastic kits basically on the same premises, or like at least it's the same building that they make the main Forge World shop, and I imagine they make the Forge World kits there as well. So surely at some point they could have started sharing that technology. So I didn't actually know until today. Someone, I think it might have been Tony, posted on the Discord saying like they're discontinuing a lot of the Forge World resin kits, right? So if they're discontinuing a lot of the Forge World resin kits at the same time they're announcing like a new Horus Heresy thing, then great. I mean, that'll just make everything more accessible. And I guess obviously we don't know anything about prices yet, I assume, but like I want to say that I feel like they should be a little bit cheaper, right? Like a plastic Leviathan Dreadnought should be maybe a little bit cheaper than the Finecast one. Or it's not Finecast, is it? It's resin. I mean, we can but hope on that part, right? But thank you so much for the $5. Jägerbomb, I appreciate it. Mark III helmets on Gravis look banging. Done it on a butchered Calgar for a dual power fist captain, says Jimmy. Okay, cool. Other people are doing fun stuff with the helmets too. Well, that's good to know, because maybe you guys are stuck in your old ways thinking about helmets. Maybe you need to experiment a little bit. I think the Mephiston would be notably better with D3 +1 damage. Yes, he would be, or notably better if he had +1 to cast, like if his Warlord trait was useful, because I think his Warlord trait at the moment is trash. Jägerbomb says, I feel the Mark VI fits with the Angels. Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly does. I also love the beaky guy that they released. Like, I made all my incursors have beak helmets. But I mean, that's probably just because I used to play way back in like 2nd edition, and I think beak helmets were quite popular on like Death Company back in 2nd edition. So I like the guy that they released with the beak helmet. So yeah, I mean, the chances of me not getting the starter set box are like slim to none. Just whether or not I invest time on learning the rules, I guess, is, you know, like I need to win some GTs first. I really do. Or like at least get second, because it's fucking pissed me off that the scoring system that last one where I should have got second put me 5th. I think Visage of Death is great, especially when your armor is also packing rights. I mean, Visage of Death is great. Who's saying Visage of Death is not great? I mean, in some ways, it's probably one of the best relics we have access to. Cheaper Games Workshop, says Robert. What are you smoking? I mean, I hope they're cheaper. I mean, the Forge World kits are kind of some of them are kind of restrictive based on the price alone. You know, like if you look at a Redemptor Dreadnought and then you look at a Leviathan Dreadnought, like the price difference is quite a lot, right? Like to a tune of maybe almost double. I guess that would be the dream, I suppose, is if the new if new plastic Horus Heresy models were a little bit more appropriately costed. But I guess we'll see. Who knows? I feel like that would be good. I think that would be some really positive PR, even if they just came down a few bucks, you know? Good luck with your games, Julian. They're not being discontinued, they're just be switching to last chance, which could mean anything. Yeah, I mean, I guess the last chance thing could mean anything. What has last chance meant, though, recently? You know, like, because they last chanced, like, Corbolo, Tycho, and Captain Carlian, right? Like, do we think that we're getting Primaris versions of any of those characters, or do we think that, like, they're just out of the meta for a while? I mean, they were never in the meta in terms of, like, people actually including them in games, right? They're not strong characters at all. But what do we, as a general consensus, what do people think has actually happened to those characters? Also, Horus Heresy comes with beaky helms, good times for veterans. Yeah, I mean, the beaky helms will be... I don't know who I'm going to put, like... If I'd put a beaky helmet on a Terminator, would you guys still hate that as well? Probably, I guess. Spiderwing says beaky helmet is best helmet. People are still going to judge me on my helmets. Okay. Judge away. Judge away. Hello there, and good evening. I noticed that you cottoned on. It was actually last Saturday stream, was it, that we said that we were going to do a video on the worst Primaris models. It was a fun video this week. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be so upset if we get a new Codex and those. I mean, there's probably more than the 8 I mentioned. If if a good number of our models are still just not playable. Because I have 6 aggressors fully painted, and I feel like I can't field them. And I have 3 Centurions fully painted, and I don't field them. I get 10 Hellbasters fully painted. I mean, the list is long. Foz, welcome. Thank you for coming from a member. I thought you were a member before, Foz. I thought it was going to say multiple months, but maybe you unsubscribed for a bit. But regardless, thank you for becoming a member, Foz. I really do appreciate it. We actually upgraded like our live battle studio setup like last week, so we've got like a bunch more cameras and stuff. So I feel like the battle report last week was actually much higher quality than what we've done before, and we actually got another bit of tech just the day after. I think it arrived on the Tuesday or something. So I'm hoping that this week's battle report will be even better in that there's a new camera there, and there's a new I think it's called a stream deck. Excuse me, stream deck. So we can like flip the camera angles quicker and stuff like that. So yeah, the battle report stream hopefully has been upgraded pretty significantly this last couple of weeks. So, I mean, it wouldn't be able to be done without all the memberships and stuff like that. So, really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you for that. If you make an apothecary as a display piece with a beaky, then it would be interesting. I mean, an apothecary could have a beaky. I mean, anything can have a beaky. It's not. I mean, they fit right. I did all 10 of mine cursors with beaky helmets, and I like them. I mean, I hate painting faces, so on mine cursors, doing beakies made a lot of sense to me. I'll actually probably be painting them after this because I got them like 3 colors, but I never quite finished them to a high enough standard for my liking. So I'll probably be returning and painting some beaky helmet. I'll be painting like 10 in cursors with beakies. They're like half done. Probably doing that after these Terminators. I run the incursors in every single list I do, so it would make sense to just get those models up to a little bit of a higher quality. Hey everyone, just joined the membership now, but I'd subscribed months ago, was waiting for my bonus to come in. Oh, congrats on the bonus, Fozzin. I do appreciate it, thank you very much. Switching up the helmets makes a model distinct without fundamentally changing it. I've been 3D printing some cool helmet variations. I hope that's not Heresy, first time in the live stream. Do you know what? I don't have a 3D printer, Henry, but I have bought some Primaris helmets. Like, I was going to say, I think they were from Etsy, but I actually think they're from eBay, from a company called like Liberati Demonicum. And whoever, they did like custom, like chaplain helmets with like proper like gnarly looking skulls and stuff in them. So the only disadvantage in doing that is then if you did go to an official Games Workshop tournament, that model would be invalid. But I guess I go to tournaments, I just don't tend to go to the official Games Workshop ones, so it shouldn't bother me too much. But no, I totally dig buying custom helmets. I did all my Vanguard veterans with custom shields because I bought custom shields from Cromlech, which is like an EU site, because you know, if you want to buy storm shields on eBay, they're about £3 a storm shield for £2 postage. So if you want like 10 storm shields, you're gonna be like $100. Whereas I could buy like 20 storm shields from a guy from Cromlech. I think it's just cromlech.eu, like kromlech.eu, and they'll do you like 10 like cool looking storm shields for like $10. You know, sometimes you got to make the right call. What would make Reavers worth it? If they had an cursor profile, would be interesting. I mean, typically not so average Joe. Elites are supposed to do more killing than troops, right? Like that's kind of why they're called elites. So what would make Reavers worth it? Maybe like a +1 attack and a -1 AP on their weapon, or a -2 AP on their combat weapon, or maybe what about like multiple pistol shots? Because pistol 1 is terrible. Pistol 2 would be okay. Pistol 3 would actually be pretty darn good, I guess. Pistol 3 at -2 damage. Yeah. I honestly don't know why like AdMech get guys that have pistol 5. Because when I was playing against them the first time and they're like, alright, we're gonna shoot you with these like 10 pistols. I'm like, okay. And they pick up like 50 dice. I'm like, hold on, what are you shooting me with? And he's like, yeah, these guys have pistol 5. I'm like, pistol 5? I mean, sure, it's strength 3, but pistol 5? You know? Like, I would much rather have the Reavers with, let's say the Reavers pistols were strength 3. Strength 3 -2 1 damage, so nothing changes. Or they go down 1 strength, but rather than be pistol 1, they become pistol 5. I'd trade them out in a second. I'm like, yeah, pistol 5, that's pretty fucking good, isn't it? So yeah, what would make the Reavers good? A lot more pistol attacks, or just the ability to actually do something in melee, I guess. Because right now I really don't feel like they have that. I found 7 Storm Shields and 7 Thunderhammers on eBay for £7 and free postage and packaging. John, that is like a miracle. That never happens when I'm on eBay. You're so lucky. That could have honestly been £30, easily. Every kill the Reavers do counts as 2 for combat attrition? That's interesting, actually. I mean, they would still need to be able to do a little bit more killing. That's their main problem, right? Like, they don't kill. So yeah, give them pistol 2 and every kill counts for 2 for combat attrition along with the death mask. Now they're getting interesting, but that's just the thing, right? It wouldn't take a lot to make the Space Marine Codex good. And that's the thing that frustrates me is, you know, like we wait 6 months for the balance update and we get told Mephiston's going down 15 points and the Death Company are going down, what, 2 points per model, and it's like, that's what we waited 6 months for, you know, like our army's getting tore up by Tau. Like, Andrew is desperate to come and play me on the channel again with his Tau list. And honestly, like, he's just desperate because, like, I think he pretty much knows, like, I can't beat the Tau list. Like, it's literally unbeatable. And I mean, over the last year or so when Andrew's been on the channel, like, my win rate against Andrew is pretty high. I mean, like, considering he always tries to bring the most broken / overpowered stuff, my win rate against him is still generally pretty high. It's probably like, I was gonna say, for every 5 games we play, I win 4 of them. Something like that. Even though he's bringing, like, the most broken stuff, but against the Tau, it's just like, I reckon, like, it's not pointless for me to play, because, like, I'll still get experience, I'll still learn on how to fight the Tau. But if I get the win, it's probably because, like, dice have gone with me or something, because, like, that Tau list is just so deadly. The Achilles heel of all Primaris units is lack of war gear options, too many specialized units and not enough customization. I think you probably just hit the nail on the head perfectly, Rezio. I mean, you've got a YouTube channel, why don't you make a video on that? That's... I mean, if you don't want to make the video, I'll make it. The Achilles heel of Primaris. And it really is. I couldn't agree with that statement more. Everyone is forgetting the really awesome thing about the Reavers, the skull helmets. Yeah, I mean, I put the skull helmets on like a bunch of my other characters, like Smash Captains and my Chapter Master, and I'm sure I put them on other characters. But yeah, the skull helmets of the Reavers, that's the best thing about them. When they did those Imperium magazines and you got Reavers, like 3 Reavers for, like, you know, the cost of the magazine, like, that was a good time to just, like, buy some magazines and get yourself some Reaver helmets, right? The new Primaris champion seems really solid rules-wise. What's the deal with the new Primaris champion, Atlas? Because originally I read that he wasn't going to be part of competitive play. Is he now part of competitive play? Because I noticed they'd given him points costs, and he's got a similar chapter upgrade, right? Like a company command upgrade, and his company command upgrade's pretty nice as well. And he still stays pretty cheap, right? Afternoon Commander, how goes it? It says, nah, name Legion. Good afternoon, dude. You must be in America if it's afternoon, so good afternoon across the pond. Man, I am wanting to get back to America. I haven't been since 2017. I actually had a holiday booked into America in 2020. The holiday was booked in April, and COVID started in March that year. So I was really fortunate. Like my travel insurance covered, like I only lost like $50, $100 on the holiday max. So I was really fortunate about that, but it was also frustrating because it's apparently in Scotland now, like Scotland hasn't even restricted all the COVID stuff, right? Like you're still supposed to wear masks in shops. I was in a shop today with my 2-year-old, and like we walked past people that weren't wearing masks. But I mean, that's been since the beginning of COVID, right? Some people just don't care, or some people just whatever. You know, there's always going to be someone that doesn't wear a mask. You just have to get on with your life and not let it bother you too much. But where we are in Scotland now, apparently 1 in 11 people now have COVID. You know, because I guess the restrictions have been eased and everyone's back to trying to live their life or whatnot. It's like it's kind of worse than it's ever been. So yeah, it's a bit surreal almost, you know, because it's like they tried really hard to push to get rid of all the restrictions, and now it's like, yeah, like the hospital in the town that I'm in actually is closed. I just found out about that today, that like I guess they're closed because like all the staff and stuff in the hospital have COVID. So I was like, okay, I guess you really don't want to have to go to the hospital right now because you can't. I do find the Blood Angels Codex is very boring compared to the more recently releases, says Namesake. Yeah, I mean, it came out right at the beginning of the edition, and I don't think they really had worked out what the identity of this edition was when the Blood Angels Codex came out. Because the identity of this edition really does seem like everything is powerful. Which is really strange, because when our codex came out, they kind of took away a bunch of our power. You know, like we used to be able to do a 3d6 charge, we used to have a relic that turned off Overwatch, we used to have the banner that gave us like a 5-up shrug. We used to be able to get a relic that made our Librarian Dreadnought like so much more reliable, and I guess like it just all disappeared. And I thought that was going to be them making all the codexes this edition more balanced, but apparently not, right? How confirmed is Space Marine Codex 2.0? I'd say, like, I've heard from sources that I trust 100% that there is a Space Marine Codex coming. Whether or not it's going to fix the problems with stuff like, you know, chapter identity and tactics, because that's one of the big things that Blood Angels suffer from at the moment, right? Is like our chapter tactic, the +1 to wound, can be like completely hard countered by like transhuman. Not many chapters get hard countered, or not many chapter tactics get hard countered like that, I guess. So yeah, like I really don't know how it's going to fix something like that. I actually kind of imagine it's not going to try and address that. That's going to be something that has to get fixed later. In Wales at the moment is 1 in 7 have COVID. Okay. Well, we would love to have you Indian. What do you mean we'd have? Did I miss something? The Primaris chaplain is Legends for now, is he? Or the Primaris company champion. He did look cool though. There's a very high chance the Space Marine 2.0, the newer models, newer Gravis Captain, are going to get a rule called Stances, which look like an army ride rule for HQs going forward. I did see the stance rule, and it does sound like, you know, we'll maybe be able to get some extra attacks or something like that. Is that going to be enough though? Right, like if Blood Angels get some extra attacks on certain HQs or certain models, is that going to be enough to help us? I'm not sure it is. I mean, it'll help, don't get me wrong, but like, is it going to... Extra attacks doesn't sound that exciting, I guess. Gotta get back to work, says Raziel. Thanks for hanging out, Raziel. I'm only hearing loser stories from today's tournaments. Love getting the stuff secondhand. That's another reason why I don't play that store usually, says Dex. I mean, yeah, I mean, Blood Angels losing at tournaments right now is almost too much. It's very commonplace, isn't it? There's a tournament going on in my city in November. I know that's a ways away, but like if Blood Angels don't have some sort of new rules by then, I could actually see myself running some other chapter just to try and be competitive, because I think that Blood Angels are another 6 months of like no new rules up against some of the Codex creep that's going on at the moment. It's going to be rough. At least we're not Imperial Fists, says Foz. Yeah, I mean, Imperial Fists are... I think they're the worst performing. I think the Imperial Fists are the worst performing and we're second worst. Is that something like that, right? The second edition of box set was $120 US. Was it? Because over here, the second edition box set cost £40. Because I remember I got that second edition box set. I got it on the shelves behind me. But I mean, that was in like... What year would that have been? Like 1995 or something? It was a long time ago. One of the big issues with the Marines is they're still meant to be these crazy durable units, but they actually die to a stiff breeze. Yeah, I mean, power armor isn't what it used to be, that's for sure, right? But I mean, they've kind of proved, the Black Templar release has kind of proved that Marines can be good. And I think in some ways the Black Templar release is what's caused stuff like... I think the Black Templar release is what caused like the Redemptors to go up in points, right? Because like if you give Space Marines like a 5-up invuln save like the Black Templars get, if you pick the Vow, then all of a sudden Marines are actually pretty decent. If you give them an arm, well, Black Templars get, is it an army wide 5-up? I think they can get the army wide mortal wound protection as well, right? Do you play other armies? At the moment, no. I've been playing Blood Angels exclusively since 8th. I used to have more armies, and I traded them. I traded everything that I had for the other armies, so that I just had more Blood Angels. Like, I had Orcs, I had Eldar, and I had Imperial Guard, or Adeptus Militarum. When I had them, they used to just be called Imperial Guard. But no, I traded it all. just for more marine stuff. Second edition had it had a cardboard kilocan. Yeah, it had a cardboard kilocan, and essentially that's a valid model. Auspex Tactics made a video about bolt guns and sums out how far Marines have fallen. Yeah, I mean, like, if they give us an army-wide improvement to bolt guns, but you're right, bolters are absolutely terrible. Bolt rifles and auto bolt rifles are like mediocre at best. But yeah, I know, that's kind of why I hate on tactical Marines so much, because strength 4 and OAP is just tragic. It doesn't kill anything. Black Templar can get army-wide 5+ feel no pain against mortal wounds, 5+ invulnerable, mini 1/2 transhuman and reroll charges. Yeah, and Black Templar are performing the best out of all the Marine chapters, right? Or one of the best. I think when we looked at it last week, we were actually surprised to see, I think maybe Space Wolves were still performing better than Black Templars. But yeah, I think Black Templars are generally one of the strongest right now. The vow rule really helps, I guess. Would I like to see like Blood Angels get something equivalent where we could pick vows before the battle starts, or death rites or something that would just help us out? And that's probably all Blood Angels would need. You know, like if you look at doctrines, for example, like if we obviously have offensive doctrines. If we had some sort of like defensive doctrine, you know, like almost like that might some sort of defensive doctrine might actually be enough to bring Space Marines back into it. But I'm sure Games Workshop are gonna, well, I think we're gonna see some new Space Marine releases for sure, like some new models to buy, and hopefully upgrades to a bunch of the existing ones, right? I still call them Imperial Guards, says Sean. I mean, yeah, I mean, some people, I guess, always will call, you know, it's weird that the one army that hasn't changed, like, we always still call them Space Marines, don't we? We very rarely call them Adeptus Astartes, but the other armies all kind of use their new names, but the Space Marines just stay as Space Marines. Maybe that name is just too iconic, and try as they might to change it, people are still going to just call them Space Marines. Every bolter needs twice as many shots, says Werty. Yeah, I could be on board with that, Werty. Either that or like drastically increase the AP or increase the damage, right? I mean, for goodness sake, they're supposed to be, they're not bullets bolters fire, are they? They're supposed to be like mini rockets. Like every single one is supposed to like explode and I guess do more damage, right? But we're like an hour into the stream and no one's come into the stream yet and told me off for not washing my models tonight, so that's a plus, right? We're actually putting in some washes. Feels good after the amount of time that was spent on these Terminators, that's for sure. Primaris Custodes are broken at the moment. Do you know, I think Custodes and Tau, because I played the new Eldar Codex, and I think the new Eldar Codex is quite strong. But I think Tau and Custodes are just too strong at the moment. Everything in the Custodes army is so difficult to kill, and then Tau just get an obnoxious amount of shooting. Space Marine, they did try and copyright Space Marines, that's right, Foz. I guess there's too many games that use Space Marines. Primaris need T5 and a better bolt gun. Yeah, I mean, if Primaris became T5 and Gravis became T6 or something. Good evening, Spiderwing, thanks for hanging out. Maybe 6's change damage to 2 or something. It's, something needs to happen, I agree. We could debate all day the shortcomings of Marines at the moment, and they definitely have some, and like I generally think they need fixed sooner rather than later. But I hope the way they do it, and if it was up to me, the way that I would probably do it is with the Space Marine 2.0 Codex, I would have something in there for all the chapters. So like chapters like ours that have like had their codex and they're not that great, they could fix that while meanwhile, you know, prepping the other chapters with something. I mean, it's all wishful thinking for me. Like, obviously I have no idea what they're gonna do, but I just don't want to be stuck in the like lands of mediocrity for too long, because I guess that's what it feels like with some of these other chapters. Like, they just get so much strong stuff, and how are we going to deal with all that is the question. A bolter fires a 75 caliber explosive caliber round, which is each the size of a monster, can mixed with an RPG upon impact. Yeah, and it's strength 4, 0 AP. Yeah, bolters are a bit like Mephiston. How the bolter is supposed to be in the lore doesn't really match how the bolter is on the tabletop, does it? In the lore, they call the bolt round 998 caliber. See, I'm from a country that has had guns banned for many years, so I'm not really familiar with bullets and caliber and stuff like that. But I do know, like the guy said, it's supposed to be like a little grenade when it hits, or a little rocket, right? It's supposed to do like it's supposed to explode upon impact and do like a ton more damage than a regular bullet, right? I'm no master, but I feel like in most games that have power creep, you're going to have to think outside the box and pilot a little weird to beat the creep and lean into our strength. Yeah, and I mean, that's probably why, I mean, over the last 6 months, maybe even the last year now, Ben, on this channel, I've not run typical Blood Angels lists. I've probably not run them in longer than that, just because, like, I tried to run them and my win rate sucked. And some people run them and some people do great, but when I try to run them, my win rate was not good. And I play 40k a lot. I feel like I should be above average in terms of like wins to loses. But yeah, I was struggling to even get 50-50 wins against my friends, and I mean, I know how good my friends are at the game. You know, I see their tournament ranks and stuff when we go to tournaments. So I've been piloting stuff probably a little weird, like you said, for like a while, and I continue to do so in that I continue to run Mephiston when everybody in chat will tell you Mephiston's not a good character, and in some ways I'll agree with you as well. Like, Mephiston needs 2 changes to make him good, but I've been running him now for probably like 2 months, and if I went to a tournament tomorrow, I'd probably just run him, even though he's not great, because, like you said, running him a little outside the box to try and get the wins any way I can, I guess, right? It's a bad time when Tyrannid Termagants have better weapons than bolters. Yeah, I saw that. They're strength 5 -1, are they, or something like that, the Termagants? It'll be interesting when they release Astra Militarum. Like, are they going to make their las guns strength 4 or something? I guess we'll see, right? Do you think the current unpopular Primaris units will get some big boosts in the 2.0 Codex? I mean, that's kind of the reason that I made the video last week. Because, like I said, if a bunch of the Primaris units just get left as they are, it's going to be very frustrating, and that's the thing that I've been most frustrated about in the last few balance update data sheets or whatever you want to call it. You know, like, I actually did a video where you compare, like, I'll show you. You can decide what you want to think on this, but like, I made this video, and the video was kind of tongue-in-cheek to a certain extent. Let me think. I gotta try and think what the video was called. Plague burst. You see. Yeah, I think I've got it. Yeah, like, I made this video. Let me just flip the camera over here a second so you can see my other screen. I'll move the chat off the screen. So I made this video which was like a predator versus the plague burst crawler. I know some of this is obscured by my camera, but let me move this chat as well for 1 second. It was like, you know, you look at the Space Marine Destructor against the Plague Burst Crawler. So the Plague Burst Crawler has like one more toughness, one more wound, same save, better and vulnerable save, -1 damage, arguably like indirect fire mortar, 2 entropy cannons which are arguably better than last cannons, a heavy slugger which is better than the Stormbolter. I would guess the Plague Burst mortar is also better than the autocannon, really. And it's 10 points cheaper, you know, so it's like +1 toughness, +1 wound, invulnerable save, -1 damage to any damage that's greater than 1, all the better weapons, and it's 10 points cheaper, right? And I mean, I'm not trying to be bitter or anything about rules and stuff like that, but like at the same point, like if you're trying to be competitive with the Marines, it's so fucking hard, right? It's just hard, man. Like, why, you know? And I think that just after that video released as well, the Plague Burst Crawler went down 10 points as well, right? Like, because it was at 175, they put it down to 165. I'm not 100% sure, but like, I feel like that happened. I obviously don't play Death Guard, but I'm convinced that the Plague Burst Crawler also went down in points shortly after I made that video. So, you know, Space Marine armor sucks right now. In general, right? Like, they just, like, how are they not, you know, the thing that they got us hyped for this year, where they're like, we're gonna do Warhammer seasons, we're gonna do balance updates every 3 months. Well, if you're gonna do balance updates, you can't just fucking ignore, or can you? You can just ignore all the terrible Marine units and just be like, well, they're terrible, we're just gonna ignore them though. To me, like, it would be more healthy, and like, it would be more healthy from a business standpoint as well, right? Like, if more units are competitive, will people not just buy more units? I know I will. Like, you know, like, if you think about, like, you know, people wanting to win tournaments, wanting to have good armies, if more things are competitive, people will buy more things, won't they? Would you buy less things if... It confuses the hell out of me, and it frustrates me that they made this big deal and they got us all excited about seasons, and they got us so excited about seasons, and then nothing really changed. We still have like a ton of terrible units. Michigan 2K asks, John, how can I deal with gaming anxiety? I've been collecting 40k since 200k. I guess you mean... I've been collecting 40k since 200k, and have massive armies for almost every race, but I played a grand total of 1 game a year. Any advice? I mean... What's making you play 1 game a year? Like, just time? Or you don't know the rules well enough? Or... Like, why are you playing so infrequently? Like, if you've got anxiety, it must be something, right? Plague Burst went down 15 points. Okay, yeah, so Plague Burst Crawler went down even more points than I thought it went down. And it's already a million times better than our armor. Go figure, right? That's why when Death Guard players moan at me about stuff, I'm like, whatever, guys. Some suggestions that bolters should have the blast rules. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but I do agree that bolters are shit right now. So I mean, they probably need to think about doing something with them. Blast might be hard for them to balance, but I mean. You were talking about Land Raider Crusader last week, worth giving it a go. I think... I mean, you could play a Crusader. I think it has a giant weakness in that it has no invulnerable save. I mean, you can give it an invulnerable save with a Psyker or with... well, I guess it would just be the Psyker, right? Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're a Black Templars player, you could run a Land Raider Crusader pretty nicely, I think. But yeah, I mean, now is the time to be trying stuff, because like I think we can all agree Blood Angels are in a weaker place in terms of like rules. So if you want to try stuff, if you want to learn models, now would be the time to do it, I think. And that was going to be my video for next week. I was just going to talk a little bit about like how Codex creep is a thing, and the best thing to do is probably to ignore the fact that everything is getting better and just try and learn your army. To play Devil's Advocate in exchange for Plague Burst buffs, they get a massive nerf on Terminators, Blightgoring Lords going up in 2, Death Shroud going up 5, and Poxwalkers going up 1. Yeah, I mean, I guess Death Guard got some nerfs for sure as well. Frank hasn't played since 5th, got back right in before COVID, and now I have 2 kids. I feel for you, John, and your lack of time. Yeah, I mean, it's good to have kids though. It's great, and maybe at some point my kids will want to do Warhammer, so that'll be cool. But yeah, I don't nearly get to paint as much as I would like. Scrub says, I really hope Reavers get buffed. Yeah, I would love to see Reavers buffed. I've got a squad painted, just waiting for them to get some sort of buff. I mean, arguably they're one of the coolest looking squads. Just sucks how they don't have any good rules, right? I'm generally anxious of having a possible bad gaming experience, bad player cheating. I mostly collect, but I'd really like to come out and play. I think you need to... Are you near like a Games Workshop, Misha, or anything like that? Like, have you got a local hobby store? Have you got friends that are in the hobby? Like, how do you... Because I think the best thing to do is to probably just agree with people beforehand the nature of the game, you know, like sometimes me and my friends Andrew and that, like the guys that you see on stream, sometimes we try and play super competitively, but like sometimes we just say like, let's just take it down a notch and have fun, right? Like if someone misses a psychic phase, you're like, yeah, sure, you know, go do your psychic phase, it's fine. Someone forgets something, you know, like, so it can kind of go both ways. And in my experience, even at tournaments, it can go both ways. For example, when I go to a tournament, I usually tell my opponent I'm happy to play by intent. And usually what that means is, if you say you're going to do something and you forget to do it, they would kind of let you do it. to a certain extent, right? Like, for example, like if in the movement phase I said to you, at the end of the movement phase, I'm going to be using this unit to do Octarius data, so they aren't moving, for example. And then at the end of the movement phase, I totally forget. You know, because I said that I was playing by intent, even at a tournament, most people would be like, all right, yeah, you did say you were going to do that in the movement phase. You obviously forgot at the end, so that's fine. And I think depending on how you like to play the game, you know, you can kind of dictate it a little bit like that. I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples, actually, Misha. One time, so I was at a tournament, and it got to turn 4, and the player I was playing was an orc player who had commandos in reserve, and he completely forgot about his commandos, and I'd kind of forgot he even had them as well. So obviously you can't have reserves arrive in turn 4, they're dead, you know? It's like you just forgot to deploy them, they're dead. And he said to me, you know, in turn 4, and we'd sort of agreed at the start of the game, you know, like, we're going to play by intent, and he said to me in turn 4, he's like, oh crap, I forgot to deploy my commandos. I was like, that's alright, dude, you know. And it was actually one of the closest games that I've ever played at a tournament. I think I won the game like 90 to 89 or something. So it was a super close game. And in some ways, when he said to me, he's like, I forgot to deploy my commandos, I'm like, yeah, you know, we agreed at the beginning of the game that we were going to try and keep it friendly and have fun and play the game in good spirit, so that's totally fine. You can put your commandos down, even though, like, with him deploying his commandos now, there's like a chance that I don't win the game. You know, like, we agreed and we trying to make the game fun for both of us, even though it's a tournament, right? But then on the other side of things, I've had other games where, like, you know, someone might have said, like, oh, you know, we've agreed to something, and then it doesn't quite go. So I think it comes down to how you play the game, right? Like, if you play fair and you play and you decide how you're going to play, then I think you can have a fun experience against any player, right? But like, agreeing how you're going to play the game, and I mean, remember, the main thing here is to have fun. Even at a tournament, you want to have fun. Like, I've had games at tournaments where, like, I'll be playing against someone, I'm like, oh my god, you know, this guy is not, you know, he's desperate to win the game, he's doing things that aren't valid, and I've had to say to him, like, you know, that's not valid, dude, you can't make that move or something, you know. So I think it goes both ways, but I think as long as you yourself have integrity, then I think that's kind of the main thing. And I think that way you can have fun against kind of anyone, I guess, right? And like I said, even in a tournament, you can go into a tournament, a very competitive environment, and still aim to have a lot of fun. And the guy, actually, after that game, the guy that forgot to put his orc commandos down, I actually voted for him for best sportsmanship, because we had such a fun game, even though it was like super close and it was a 1-point game, and he forgot to do something critical, you know. I actually voted him best sportsmanship in that tournament. So just something to say. Ironclad or a venerable dreadnought for Blood Angels? It's a tough call, actually, right? Ironclad is going to be better in melee, probably, but Venerable is going to be slightly better on the range side of things. I guess it depends on what you need. If you want to bring melee power, then probably the Ironclad. If you want to bring some shooting power, then probably the Venerable. I like both. I've run a couple of normal dreadnoughts as Venerables for testing, and I do actually really like the better weapon skill. Sorry, the better ballistic skill. I mean, it just makes them feel like a lot more reliable. Reavers should have paired combat knives with an cursor. Elite units have to be either better at shooting or melee or both to be better than a troop variant. Yeah, I mean, I think we've been back and forth on Reavers the last few days. After the video I made on Friday, and I guess just general chat about Reavers, and Reavers need something. Either a better knife like the paired combat blades that you said, or even a better knife and a better gun might be fine. I know they aren't that expensive a unit, but for taking up an elite slot, they need to do more. You're welcome, Mishgun. I think the main thing to do is to try and just get some games in, and when you set up at the table with the best of intentions. You know, like say what I said. Like, tell them that you're happy to play by intent, and tell them like if you miss something, you know, you're happy to give them a bit of leeway as long as they give you a bit of leeway back, and just breeze into it. Try not make it like a high stress game, and that's kind of how I would try and approach it, and only go to the higher stress games if you feel like you're ready for it, right? Like if you want to go more high stress. But then here's the thing, like, so I like to go to tournaments, but like literally the first thing I say every single game I get to table in the tournament is like, I'm happy to play by intent. Like, I don't want you to lose to me at a tournament because you forgot to deploy your commandos, for example. You know, like, how shitty would that be? You know, like, within reason, I suppose, like, if it's the end of the phase and you're like, oh, I should have shot this unit that I forgot 10 minutes earlier. Yeah, you know, dude, that you're pushing it a bit. But, like, little mistakes or something like that, like, you can... I think if you go into it for the best of intentions, then hopefully the people you're playing against go in the best of intentions, and you generally have a fun time, right? What weapons did I have on the Venerable when I ran it? Multi-melter. I like multi-melters. I like them when they hit on 2s. I mean, it's not... Multi-melt and a combat weapon, I believe. I mean, you could run the Venerable with like a crack missile launcher and the twin las cannon. The problem is I don't think the twin las cannon is very good, right? And it's just because the D6 damage on the las cannon. Plus, las cannons are still kind of expensive. Here's hoping that las cannons get changed to something like D3 plus 3 or something in the new Codex. I think they probably will, because, or maybe not D3 plus 3, but maybe like D3 plus 2 or something. I think las cannons are in a pretty poor place right now. They need something. The points cost that you have to pay for the las cannons really don't justify how much, I was going to say how little damage they do. I'm 42 and the local community is 20 to 25 year olds, hyper competitive meta chasers. None of my friends play. Well then, I guess you got to go to the local community and find someone that isn't a hyper competitive meta chaser, because there's always some, you know, not everybody is hyper competitive in every game, surely, right? I mean, I guess you could maybe be unlucky, yeah, and they are all hyper competitive and there's no one that plays, but I'm sure there's going to be somebody like you that wants to have fun with it and isn't hyper competitive. I mean, you might even be worth like posting on Reddit for like where your local area is, and give your situation, you know, say that you're looking for someone and you're not, or here's another thought: if none of your friends play, and I don't think age is actually a big problem in the hobby, in that like I'll play against people that are like, I'll play against people who are half my age and still have a good game or a fun game, but if you've got loads of armies, could you teach some of your friends to play? Let them borrow your army? You know, like, make it a thing, you know, get some beers or something, make it like a Friday night teach a few of your friends, maybe teach a few of them at the same time and see if any of them are interested. I fully expect to be playing Warhammer when I'm like 80, man. But yeah, I wouldn't call, like, I'm 39 this year, I think. Yeah, I'm 39 this year, so I mean, I'll play against, in some of the tournaments, I honestly play against people half my age, and you know, we'll have a good game. I don't think age is a problem in this. I mean, it's no different to like a video game, I guess, if you're playing a video game against someone half your age or something like that. Blast cannons are too expensive. Multi-melt on either close combat weapon or a fist. Yeah, I think that's how I'd run a Venerable Dreadnought for sure. I think Cyclone missile launchers are okay. I mean, I don't think they're great. I just think they're okay. Like, if you include a Cyclone missile launcher or two in your army, it's fine. I wouldn't go any more than like one or two though. I've run one in a few armies for a while now, and yeah, I think it's okay. Like, occasionally it'll do some damage. I just think las cannons are too damn expensive for what they tend to bring. Or maybe I just always get bad rolls when I need a good roll on the damage. Scott says he's 49, he doesn't find many people his age. Yeah, I mean, 100% I don't think age is... Just out of curiosity, everybody put your age in chat. If you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to. But, I mean, we must have I imagine we've got a big range of ages. I can honestly say I'll be holding tournaments in my retirement home, rolling dice or false teeth. Where's your retirement home going to be, Dirty Wizard? So we get 24 at the youngest at the moment, and I guess 54 at the oldest. So yeah, it's like a 30-year gap. That's pretty crazy, actually. But yeah, I mean, it just shows you, like, I really don't think age is relevant, I guess. And I mean, if you really want to break it down, we're all playing with toy soldiers. But yeah, I would honestly, I would go to your local store or wherever it is that the local community is and just put out some feeler, you know, and even say to the hyper competitive guys, like, you know, because if someone came to me, like where I play, and said, you know, hey, I'd like to play more, but I'd rather not play hyper competitively, do you know what, like, me personally, I'd be like, oh sure dude, I sometimes like to try out lists, you know, I'm not going to run trash list, but I'll play you with some like alternative lists. So, and like if you're playing against me, you would get a good, fun, fair game, you know. So it's like, I think you just got to put yourself out there and not worry too much. We get someone who's 17. Okay, so 54 to 17. Jeff says, please don't let me be the oldest bastard here. I mean, maybe someone was older, Jeff, and they weren't comfortable sharing their age. So thanks for sharing. I really, like, when I'm playing 40k, I never look across the table and think about people's ages. You know, I played Kev this week, and I actually, it was a while ago now, like might have been like 5-6 years ago. maybe not as much as that, but it was a while ago. I actually hosted Kev's birthday party up at my house because my wife wanted to make him a cake for his 40th. We actually made him a Space Wolf cake for his 40th because my wife's a bit of a baker. So that was ages ago. So I mean, like, there's 6 years difference between me and Kev or something like that. But like, you know, it's not an issue. When you take the tabletop, when you get to the tabletop, all bets are off, right? You're there to have fun. Sometimes you're there to win. I do play to win, but at the same time, I don't. You know, if someone wanted a fun game, I'd give them a fun game. 100%. Amsterdam is going to be where your retirement home is. If I asked someone for a non-competitive game, then I'd tell them they'd come to the right place because Blood Angels aren't competitive. James hitting us with the harsh truths apparently tonight. What about narrative? You might enjoy Crusade. Do you know what? I would enjoy Crusade, Reziel, and I've played narrative battles before. Many years ago, I had an account on Bolter and Chainsword, but it's just time, Reziel, in that, like, I'm just focused on competitive. Until I can win some tournaments, that's where my focus is going to be. And because I spend half my week making YouTube videos, then it means that and with the kids, I literally get one game a week, so at the moment it has to be competitive. I do hope that when the kids are older, I might be able to do more on the channel. You know, like one of my goals to begin with was like on a Saturday night, sometimes like this painting stream would be like sometimes to like play like I play Star Wars Legion. I'm sure you guys can see Star Wars Legion behind me. Like on a Saturday night, just have a game of Legion or whatnot. But at the moment with the kids, they don't go to, you know, it takes us ages to get to them bed, and I'm probably too tired to like go out and set up a game at this time of night. I'm thinking of writing off competitive play. GW is incapable of making 40k balanced. I don't know if they're incapable of making the game balanced, Riziel. I think they sell more models by doing the approach that they do. And I hadn't really thought about this. I watch a YouTuber called Liam Dempsey, and he's like part of like Winter's SEO. Deployment Zone. Is it deploymentzone.tv or something? Is their pay-per-view? And I only started watching Liam like about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And in some ways, Liam's kind of similar to me, right? Like he does some streams where he's just there hanging out, and he does some every Wednesday night. I believe they play like a live game on his channel. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched a whole game. Again, it's just time. But you know, like sometimes when the kids are asleep and I have a half hour or something, I'll check him out. And he was saying something similar in that, like, he was frustrated with the Codex creep in 9th edition, which I think a lot of people are frustrated, especially if you play like one of those earlier armies and you're just getting basically rolled over by Tau, for example, right? Like there's no way to even slightly compete against them. They're just wrecking you. So Liam was saying, like, he thinks that if they released all the codexes at the same time, right? Like every codex for 9th edition, imagine if every codex came out in the same month. He was saying that, like, he thinks the game would be a ton more balanced, but he also thinks Games Workshop would sell like a ton less models because, well, one, people aren't there to jump onto, like, you know, oh my god, Tau are super strong right now, I should buy a Tau army. And if they released them all at the same time, would like people just buy, probably, like, you know, people would buy like 1 or 2 codexes and be like, well, those are my codexes for this edition, you know, it doesn't matter if other things are strong, I've kind of decided, you know, this edition You know, like I used to play World of Warcraft. I mean, occasionally I still do play World of Warcraft, and sometimes, you know, you would just pick a character for this expansion. It'd be like, right, this expansion I'm going to be a shaman, and you know, that's just what I'm going to play. And like, so I think they could balance it. Even like, I really think they could balance it easily if they wanted Reziel. But I guess their philosophy is to release the codexes one at a time and have sort of like this codex creep meta thing that we have going on, and I don't like it. And I've even seen now some of the like meta chaser players getting upset at how aggressive the new codex and stuffs are coming, right? Because like with the Harlequins rules, you know, there's some stuff in the Harlequins rules, I guess, that are just like flat out auto includes. Like they're great at killing vehicles, they're also great at killing hordes, you know, like weapons with multiple profiles sort of stuff. And like, you know, some of the questions I've seen are just like people saying like, why have they made them like just brilliant against everything? You know, like, is that not kind of problematic in terms of like design? If units are just great against everything, then, you know, why would people not play those units? So yeah, if you haven't ever heard of Liam, I believe his channel is just called Liam Dempsey. Dempsey is like Dempsey. He's got a cool channel. If you do go over there and subscribe, tell him that you come from here. But yeah, they do, you know, he's worth watching now and again if you just want to, like, I guess in some ways, I think on Friday nights he does like a beer and a beer stream, like where he's just having a couple of beers and chatting. But yeah, I think he made a good point about the fact that like he really thinks they could balance them if they wanted to, and I kind of think the same. The game could be balanced if they wanted it to be balanced. Jimmy's right that 40k is either about a lot of chess type things or just having a laugh. And I guess where we are right now, I guess like that would be my suggestion, is just try and have a laugh at the moment, because if you try and do competitive, like hyper competitive with Blood Angels right now, you're just going to get frustrated. And I mean, that's probably why, you know, if you'd asked me like that a couple of months ago, I wouldn't have known that's how I felt. But like, you know, Reziel, for example, we and you talk quite a bit sometimes on Discord, and like, you know, you said to me a bunch of times, you're like, I'm not convinced about you running Mephiston, and I was like, well, I'm just running him because I've not run him, you know. And I think that's sort of developed from the fact that like, hey, I don't think Blood Angels are that competitive right now, so why am I trying to run, like, you know, the Firstborn Librarian, who is, you know, like a very meta pick. He's very strong with his null zone. I'm trying to be super competitive. If I don't think we can be super competitive, then I'm just trying to have fun with the game. And I guess that's where I am right now, and I guess that's probably where my channel is going to be for the next, until we get some new rules. We're going to just try and have fun with the game, and like, you know, we're going to have to play against Tau, because like I said, Andrew's desperate to get on the channel with his Tau, because he's like, this Tau list is so strong, and I'm like, yeah, Andrew, because Tau are fucking broken in my opinion. But we'll see. You know, who was it earlier that said, am I going to try the Land Raider Crusader? Maybe I will. Maybe after I've painted these Terminators and finished the Incursors, maybe we'll just finish up painting that Crusader, and then we'll just start running the Crusader. So I'll have like a Crusader full of like Terminators or Centurions or something, and when the guys pop out, I'll have Mephiston fly to join them, and then unleash Rage or something, and we'll have something that's like so far off meta, but we'll aim to just have fun with it, you know? Hobby is the real meta, boys. But what you like and try to paint as well as to hit to wound does. Yeah, no one paints as well as to hit to wound, man. If you guys haven't followed to hit to wound on Twitter, you should follow him because this painting is unreal, honestly. It's so good. Beer helps with the fun side of things too. Beer definitely does help, yeah. You gotta jump onto the hotness to stand a chance. Yeah, but I mean, even now I'm seeing people that do like to jump to the hotness getting frustrated with how often the hotness is changing, right? Like, it's like literally at this point, it feels like every month. It literally feels like every new codex is just more broken than the last codex. Have I got any flyers? Can you throw one of them in your list for shits and giggles? I only have a Storm Raven, the big one. I mean, I could throw it in my list, but I think it would just die instantly. But yeah, no, I think I like the idea of the Crusader. I've never run the Crusader full of Terminators or full of Centurions, so I think I'll do that next. Maybe if maybe if things don't improve in 6 months' time, you'll see a flyer, but my flyers aren't painted, and I guess that's a big problem with me, is like I don't paint stuff that I don't tend to run. Like, all my painting is usually focused around like units that I think are competitive. So typically what it means is just units that I feel like aren't competitive or miles behind in terms of where they are paint-wise, but And I don't really like running things that aren't painted for the channel, because I'm trying to make the channel battle reports look reasonably professional. So maybe the Crusader idea I think has got the most merit, and I would like to have that Crusader painted anyway. The Crusader is a very, in some ways it's a very iconic unit, isn't it? Yeah, Mephiston can be fun. He can also be frustrating because of his rules right now, but I guess a lot of Blood Angel's characters can be frustrating for the rules. Did you guys see my game against Eldar where they killed Mephiston actually in the shooting phase with a vehicle, but Mephiston was in combat with the vehicle? But you can't play only in Death Does Duty End because it's not the fight phase. I kind of thought that sucked, honestly. Like, I would like to see that changed. I guess because of the change to like a lot of armies, especially like Tau, for example. So like if you had Mephiston in combat with the Tau army and they managed to kill him in the shooting phase, you're not able to use only in Death Does Duty End, because even though he's in melee, even though he's basing another model, you can't use it because it's not the fight phase. I honestly thought, like, because I had to check the stratagem to see if it was valid, and it's not. And I honestly thought, like, man, that should probably be valid. Like, if you get killed by a shooting attack, but you're in base contact with an enemy model, you should have the option to use only in Death Does Duty End, right? Because it felt a bit weird that I couldn't use it. I think I got shot by was it like, it was a strength 9 -4 damage gun from the Falcon. It wasn't a Bright Lance, it was like a plasma, a pulse laser or something. So basically the biggest gun that thing has on it. What's the time in Scotland? We went through daylight savings. It is 11:30 here in Scotland, so I've got, well, it's 11:37 to be precise. So I got about 20 more minutes. I am going to lose an hour of sleep tonight because of daylight savings, I believe. Our clocks change in the morning, so the time goes back 1 hour. No, it goes forward 1 hour, so we get 1 hour less sleep tonight. So I'm going to be finishing promptly at midnight because I'll get woken up super early by my kids, no doubt. And I need sleep, I guess. If they're switching the Horus Heresy stuff from Forge World to plastics, I wonder if we'll see Storm Raven upgraded with new sprues to make it Storm Eagle. The Forge World medal is half metal, half plastic. Or half resin, half plastic. Yeah, who knows what they're going to do, but I do hope that the plastic kits are just so much more nice to work with than the resin stuff, aren't they? I'm really not a fan of the resin kits in general. I mean, I've done a fair few of them in my day, but they just take so long, and also the instructions suck. If you didn't hear me say that earlier, the instructions are literally terrible. They're kind of the worst part of the kit, to be honest, aren't they? If I could justify the cost of something uncompetitive, I would get the Terrax pattern termite assault drill. It seems like it might be fun. I actually think the Terrax is actually in an okay spot. Why do you think it's uncompetitive, Nathan? I mean, it's deadly in melee combat. It's got like 5 melta guns. It carries, I think it's 12 models. I think the Terrax is... I don't think it's bad at all. Assault drills are amazing for us. In my experience, the drill is better than a Redemptor right now. Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking of buying a drill soonish. I don't have one, but with the points going up on the Redemptors and stuff like that, I actually think the drill is a decent option. You just haven't seen it enough, I guess? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with some of the Forge World stuff, you don't see it all that often, right? And I guess the enemy can potentially screen out the drill, so if they can screen out the drill, that could be problematic for you. But, no, I fought against the drill a good few times, and I generally think they're quite good. I mean, 5 melta shots is not insignificant, I guess. And if you get the thing in melee combat, it's just insane. It's D6 plus 3 against enemy vehicles. Like, it kind of makes like I guess it even makes an ironclad dreadnought look bad in melee combat, right? Plus, its weapon skill doesn't degrade in melee combat either, right? So even if it's got 1 wound left, it's still hitting on 4s, I think. I want to say its weapon skill doesn't degrade. Which is nice. I bought a bunch of Forge World over the winter, excited to feel my scythed Hyrogel for Nids. Oh, cool. I haven't bought anything from Forge World for a little while, but I was thinking of putting an order probably in the next month or two. Fun to pack a company champion, 5 company veterans, Lightning Claw, Storm Shield, a chaplain, 5 Death Company with Thunderhammers. Oh, the pain you bring on the charge. I mean, that is a lot of pain. Especially if you want to take something like Icon of the Angel or something on one of those characters to just get some rerolls down on those charges as well. That could be pretty darn useful, right? No, I don't think you can put anything. I don't think it takes Terminators or jump pack models. It's just 12. Bruin Biscuits just got back from his league game. We won 86-36. Death Company Vanguard veterans were the MVPs. Nice. What army were you up against tonight, bro? Goth Orcs. Well, congrats on the win. That seems solid. Very solid. I only got like 10 more minutes tonight. I'm actually pretty tired already, and like losing an hour's sleep tonight is going to be tough. So we finally got some washes on these Terminators though. I'm tempted to start something else. I just don't know what to do that's gonna not take too long. Do you know what? I'm gonna do a little bit of dry brushing on these Lightning Claws, I think. We're gonna do some Chronos Blue, and I think we'll do some Praxi White. Start with the Chronos Blue. The thing about the Terrax drill as well, which would be quite nice, right? And correct me if I'm wrong here, is I guess the Terrax drill could synergize nicely with it would synergize nicely with Relentless Assault, because you're like literally pouring like 4 models into the opponent's deployment zone. Maybe even more. If they leave a spot in their deployment zone, there's a lot that the Terrax can do. With 10,000 subscribers, I want to see Games Workshop make an actual Blood Angels Commander HQ. That would be nice, but I think I'll hold my breath on that one, Stephen. But that's very kind of you. I don't think we'll see a honorary Blood Angels Commander, but I mean, maybe if Dante has to give up the chapter, you know, he's getting a bit old. I was thinking of commissioning a t-shirt design for 10,000 subscribers though, because I think at 10,000 subscribers YouTube gives you like T-Fury integration, which means I guess we can get like Blood Angels Commander t-shirts made. But I was gonna probably try and get someone to do a good like a good design and pay someone to make up a t-shirt design, so that might be cool. But that's about all the news I've got on merch right now. So I think I'd probably try and get that done at some point in the next few months, but no exact timeline on it. Yeah, I mean, Games Workshop would definitely be making one about someone that wins all the tournaments before they make one about me, for sure. Plus, I guess I don't always sing GW's praises. If they do something that I don't like, you know, like, I'm honest. That's just who I am. I try and be an honest person. I'm trying to teach my kids at the moment to be honest. You know, like if they do something in the house, like they damage something, or I'm just trying to teach them that, like, I'd rather they were just honest and tell me what happened than try and hide it or something like that, you know, so. A t-shirt with a slogan, "We need more Sanguinary Guard." I mean, we do. I did like that slogan, but like, Sanguinary Guard aren't that good anymore, Tezab, which is a little bit sad. The -1 damage on just about every other enemy army has totally killed them. I'm game to buy a Blood Angels Commander shirt, says Foz. Would like to buy a flat rim hat too if you ever make one of those. What do you mean by a flat rim hat? Do you mean like a baseball cap, or do you mean like something else? Would you want a new Sanguinar that's buffed to the new standard, or a different named character? Well, I mean, I don't think the Sanguinar is very competitive at the moment right now, because we generally don't see him, period. Like, very few people seem to include Sanguinar, so would I want him reimagined to, like, I guess you mean like the new levels of craziness that some of the new characters are getting? Yeah, I'd probably want to see him reimagined. It has to say, "By the blood are we made." That's I stole that from like Gabriel Seth, right? Like Gabriel Seth says that a couple of times in Devastation of Baal, I think. Or it's definitely, he says some sort of variation of it. I put Icon of the Angel on a Chaplain, Blade of Triumph and Imperium Sword on the Chaplain. You mean Champion, right? Dice trays and dice would be good. Okay. I mean, I don't really know if I can do that. I guess I'll see. typically when you reach a subscriber milestone, YouTube are really slow to tell you what you're allowed to do. So once I hear from them, but like I said, it's really slow because we passed 500 subscribers on our podcast channel like maybe like 10 days ago, and we don't have the community tab, which is supposed to unlock when you get to 500. So so that's literally the quickest and easiest way ever to do lightning claws, and I make everything easy. Like you know, I think they look decent, right? A little bit of blue dry brush in the middle and a white dry brush on the end. It's fine. Battle ready is usually what I'm aiming for with my paint jobs. Alright, I'm going to finish this lightning claw and I'm going to call it tonight, guys. I'm going to be back tomorrow night, though. We got Army List show going on tomorrow night. It always goes on a Sunday night about 9:30 UK time, so for anyone watching out with UK, I think that means it'll be 1 hour earlier because of daylight savings. And then on Monday night, I think we're playing against Drukhari on the channel. Got a guy, James, you guys haven't met him before. He's played Drukhari for a while. I don't know really enough about Drukhari. I've only got a handful of games against them this edition. Maybe not even a handful, like maybe 3. We get no one that normally plays Drukhari in our local meta, so it's good to potentially have that coming onto the channel. Especially, you know, if you go to tournaments, it's always good to get to play against everything, so it's good to get that onto the channel. It's sort of overdue, I suppose. Hopefully, if it works out well tomorrow, we'll get more. We can see more Drukhari and Harlequins and Aldari played by someone maybe just a little bit different from Kev. I think James is definitely a more competitive player than Kev. So I guess we should see a slightly stronger, more rounded competitive list, I would think. Thanks, Steve. Steve says nice talents, appreciate it. Riziel's working tomorrow night. That's fine, no problem. By Flat Brown Hat, it's a baseball cap, but the peak on the front is flat across instead of being curved. Like other styles are similar. It's a trucker version with mesh on the back or the dad cap. Alright, I mean, I will see what the options are, Foz, but I mean, potentially, yes. What you like? Are you interested in the current logo, or are you more interested in something new? I guess that's the big question. Like, because I was thinking of commissioning something new for something new for hitting 10,000 subscribers, sure, but also like, would anyone be interested in the current logo, or it's more about like you would just want something more new, more generic, more Blood Angels, I guess. Oh, we could glaze some blue on it as well, says Exo. That's a good idea, Exo. Yeah, maybe I'll glaze some blue on it too. I was gonna say I'll let the dry brush dry, but it's probably dry already. It's just a dry brush. Looking for some stereotypical Scouser head for my Blood Angels, Harry Enfield style Scousers. Man, I haven't heard anyone speak about Harry Enfield in about 20 years. Surely that's a very old show, is it? Riziel can make a logo for free of charge. Okay, well, I mean, I'm gonna come up with something, I think. Let me see if I've got a glaze. I've got a glaze right here. I've got Guilliman glaze. Alright, that's why we're going to end the stream. We're going to put some Guilliman glaze on these lightning claws real quick. And that's going to be the end for tonight. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow night to do the army list show, and then we'll be back on Monday night to do the what happens on Monday nights? The live battle. Don't always get that much use out of Guilliman glaze, but this is a good use for it, you know that? Live stream on Thursday for the painting competition. I have not got all the entries together yet, Dermot, and I mean I was kind of needing to actually put a bunch of the entries together today, but today I did a lot. Like, we had family visiting, and then I had to, because we've just moved house, we're still doing a lot of stuff with the house move, so I basically did none of the prep that I'd wanted to today. Yeah, so as soon as I have a date for the painting stream with, like, basically a presentation of, like, all, I think it's going to probably be like 80 or 90 entries. Like, there was a lot. As soon as I have that presentation ready, I'll speak to the people that I'm going to get to judge it. And the reason I'm making the presentation is because I want it to be anonymous. So I don't want the judges to know anyone's names, basically. Or I don't want the judges to know who submitted whatever models, right? So as soon as I've done that and it's ready to go and I've spoke to the judges and we've arranged a time, then I'll announce it. I'm sorry it's taking a little bit longer than I'd hoped, but yeah, like I said earlier in the stream, having two children, both at an age where they're unreasonable with, in terms of, like, they can just be crying and there's nothing you can do to stop it, is actually taking a lot more of my time than I expected, I guess. But don't worry, I mean, the prizes, I can show you the prizes. They're literally just sitting just sitting off screen. The painting competition, the final stream will be announced with plenty notice, and I'll spam it across Discord and everything, so you definitely will not miss it, right? Yeah, I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. I'm sorry it's taken me so long. Alright guys, that is going to be me for tonight. I do appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope you managed to get some hobby done yourselves. We are here pretty much every Saturday night doing some hobbying, but yeah, I got to bail tonight. So I will see you guys tomorrow if you are so inclined, and if not, well, it's dark in here without that light on, and if not, I will maybe catch you guys Monday, and if not, maybe I'll catch you guys next week. But regardless, thanks again for hanging out. If you did enjoy tonight's video, please hit the like button. I mean, just anytime you see a stream of mine or a video of mine you enjoy, likes are super appreciated. It means YouTube algorithm will share my videos with some other people, and that's awesome. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Thank you so much for watching. By the blood are we made strong. Peace.